Alright, it's time, boys. Digimon Beat Break, Episode 9. We've had plenty of episodes about Tomoro. Makes sense, he's our main character. We had an episode about Reina, our main girl. Also important to get her own episode. We had an episode about Kyo, the cool older mentor guy. He's got to get his own. Last but not least was Makoto, the other one. Yes. There was two things to assume going into Makoto's first episode where he is the focus. One is that they kind of just forgot him. That they needed another character, you need another Digimon to eventually make toys out of, so therefore they made this guy and didn't really think about it too much. Or the plan was to make his episode be a little bit later so you can tie it more into the plot and world building. The problem with this is that Digimon has proven either of these options were equally valid. But no, thankfully, it was the latter. This episode did such a great job of giving you such a better idea of who Makoto is, what he's been through, while also building up the world and just the potential plot related to that. And I'm glad that it really did feel like an organic growth from last week. Last week felt like it was resolving everything with Tomoro and his school, so that way we could move on to this greater thing about learning about Shangri-La Egg. I'm getting that right? It's called Shangri-La Egg. But yeah, so at the end of last week's episode, we found out that Makoto has some greater connection to the sort of Digimon security force, or whatever you want to call them, based on his interaction with that head leader dude. And also at the end of the episode, Tomoro was confronted by the student who led to all those other students getting captured, and he wasn't just telling Makoto to shut up and not get him in trouble. He was obsessed with the idea that he could do good enough one day to make it to Shangri-La Egg. We were left on the note last week that this society is conditioning its people to want to go after the ultimate top goal, which is to live in quote-unquote utopia. But to anyone who ever studies the concept of utopia, you find such a thing cannot exist without sacrifices and issues. Many we will find out. Will those issues turn out to be related to Digimon? Probably. That tends to be how this franchise works. But I did think this was such a really strong way to introduce everything. For starters, let's just start with where it begins. I love showing off the sort of like propaganda marketing of Shangri-La Egg. The idea that everyone is told that this is where to be, this is the ultimate place. This is if you follow society's rules, if you stay in line and do everything you are told, you will be rewarded with the most perfect, luxurious place possible. Created in the wake of a disaster that is what led to half the city being underwater. Will this disaster turn out to be Digimon related? Yes, it will 100% turn out to be Digimon related. This is how this franchise goes, people. But yeah, so the episode opens with Makoto, who is entering this rich people's city. And what I think is very interesting is that in the real world, we kind of have this. Now, obviously, we don't have a rich people exclusive city per se, but a lot of our society is based around selling this idea that there is a ultimate form of wealth, there is an ultimate form of status, there is an ultimate form of items you can own that represent the idea that you have made it. You are at the top. You are the pinnacle. Hell, go to any shopping mall, if you can find one, and you will find all these upscale clothing stores that have the hottest new actors and singers and models advertising things you don't need and you are probably better off not wasting your money on. You should always waste your money on more trading cards and nerd shit. That's what life is all about. But no, there is definitely this aspect to our society of if you want people to do what you want them to do, get them to believe that your product or what you are trying to get them to do will lead them to believing they are at the top or that they are better than others or that they have succeeded. And we tend to tie this in our society to money. We tie it to how much we make, how we spend it, what we do in our free time with it. We already have this. This show is just showing that this can evolve to the concept of it's not just a marketing tactic, it's a way of life. And also, it is an entire basis for class structure and where you can live and all these things. I like it when these concepts are treated like this, as opposed to your typical, and I know I've knocked this show a few times in this series, a Black Mirror type world where it's everything is just the ultimate extreme all the time, and everyone is just the most awful, insufferable, just version of what this society can produce, and it doesn't feel real or plausible to me at all. This feels a little bit more reasonable. But yeah, so Makoto gets into the world where we see that while he doesn't obviously have necessarily the clearance, like the one-day passes. Also, I love the idea that you can buy a ticket to go shop in this place. The idea that they've got you believing so much that this is what you should go after, they make you want to spend money just to go there. But yeah, so Makoto, we find out, is actually the son of a very rich, affluent family in this area. I feel like we should have known this based on how he dresses. I like the way the characters dress does tie into their personality. Rather, Tomoro having a bit of a light punk rocker feel. Reina looking very much just sort of like the teen punk type girl. Obviously, that's the aesthetic with those two. But Makoto dresses kind of like one of those Precious Moment statues you get at the mall. He's very proper looking. He talks very like subtly. He feels very different from the other two. And that was being set up here because he has such a different upbringing. He lived in rich, fancy utopia society and therefore gets certain amount of status. Security just lets him on through and they're even willing to get him a private car. But I like to see how uncomfortable that makes him. Part of it's because he's on a job and he doesn't want to get caught. But I do think that there is a sort of sense that he doesn't feel like he belongs here anymore. You see when he's with the others, there is a very just naturalness to the way he interacts with them, that you see that difference from how he interacted with basically everyone in this episode. And I think that was very much intentional. But yeah, so Makoto is then able to sneak our other two heroes in. I love the way you got to see how the Digimon interact with the technology in this episode. Rather, it's using his Digimon to mess with the security system. Rather, it's Gekomon being able to control the self-driving car. All that I thought was really neat. But effectively, they are looking for gold Nume mine. I love this. I love the metaphor so fucking much. I love the idea of a gross Digimon like Numemon, but he's gold and fancy looking now. That makes everything better. And he sends out giant gold turds. Well, like the old saying goes, polish a turd, it's still a turd. But yeah, so they're looking for this Numemon, but also we see these other two Digimon hunters, or whatever you want to call them, are also looking for them. And I thought they were great. I loved just that opening scene of the Shademon taking over that other guy. So fucking creepy. But I like the idea that they are the perfect contrast to Makoto. Makoto was cast out of the city because he got a Digimon. And that doesn't seem to bother him that much. I like that it does bother Chirapmon, though. The idea that Makoto lost his home because of him, it bothers him. It also helps Chirapmon is very cute. And when we see the giant crazy bat teeth, it just makes it funnier. But we see that for these two people, they're not over it. They are obsessed with getting back to the top. The way the father has instilled this idea into the daughter that life will only be good again if we make it back to where we were. And I think it's very interesting that this sets up a good contrast between our two characters. One character was cast out. He moved on with his life. He found new people that made him happy, and he's kind of put himself in a very comfortable situation for himself. Meanwhile, you have these other two where they can't accept it. They're mad. They're angry. Society screwed them over, and they're so fixated on getting back to where they were supposed to, it's ruining their lives. This girl only thinks in terms of bitterness and anger, even when Makoto just tries to talk to her like a normal person. We see that this is manifest in the form of her having a Shademon, a scary Digimon that controls people, that just to get what it wants. And I think that's really strong. And God, I can't wait for next week. I want to see what happens to Cheerupmon. I want to see how our heroes fight back. It's so fucking good. But in the comment section below, give me your thoughts on this episode. Are you as excited as I am to see where it goes? Do you prefer this form of social commentary compared to the more on-your-nose style? I've probably said this before, but if I keep insulting Black Mirror, I feel like I'll need to keep asking it. But give me your thoughts about that below. And as always, click to like, click subscribe, and join me next week for more exciting Digimon action.